to the 40K Fireside podcast, where we discuss everything to do with competitive Warhammer 40K with your hosts Vic VJ and David Gaylord.
Boom.
Dave, episode 200. Here we are.
200. That's 2 zeros, right?
Wow. Guys, we've done 200 videos with Fireside 40K, and this is number 200. I wanted to give a massive thank you to everyone who's kind of supported us along the way. I'm sure you feel the same way, Dave.
Yeah, for sure, man. For those like very first people who started watching and have stayed with us ever since. I get the odd message every now and again. People were saying like, "Oh, I've watched since like the second episode or something, or I've listened to you guys' content from like way back when you guys were playing, went to LVO episodes, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's really nice. It's really heartwarming that people have joined us on the journey. We've got more people coming every day, yeah.
Absolutely, dude. Our pilot episode had a kind of a clip art picture, I think, almost of a fireplace. That's where we started. So, yeah, thank you all, everyone. And what we're going to do now is we hit episode 200, and we've decided to go back to our roots. The format of these videos is kind of our meta discussion, where we hit a variety of different topics rather than our single topic videos. The aim of these videos is we're going to try and do them regularly, once per month, come out and talk about a variety of kind of hot topics for this particular month.
We have what we first started doing, right? We haven't done that for a while.
Absolutely. And I think people love that kind of discussion between us where we both give our thoughts on something and try and see it from kind of the cutting edge of competitive play, but make it accessible and give lessons that anyone can take on. Dave, we've got so much to talk about in this episode, and I want to do like a kind of a little quick, rough rundown for people who have started watching this episode, what we're kind of going to cover. So we've got lots of stuff to talk about with Dave. I'm not going to spoil any of that because that's coming in at the start. But then we're also going to talk about quite a bit about Space Marines. I think they've had a lot of new rules which have come in, and I think they're coming out as quite a strong force in the meta with a variety of different builds. I know they're super popular, so hearing Dave's thoughts, he's been playing so much of them, will be amazing for anyone who's a Space Marine player out there. We're also going to do a little bit about kind of where skill versus the power of different factions sits at the moment. We've seen some really cool factions win big tournaments at the moment, which are really not the meta things you would expect. And finally, we're going to talk about 40K balance versus life. So how you manage stress in competitive 40K, how you don't overburden yourself, burnout, and what you can do. Dave is awesome at this stuff as well. What you can do to just turn off and forget about 40K for a little bit.
It's important to have that downtime.
Yeah, Dave, shall I run you in on your topics here? Because I'm going to do a little shout out that we've obviously got some really cool videos that Dave has done with some of the people who did really well in LGT. We've got third place Boris. We've got first place Liam. They've both done videos if you just scroll down a little bit. I did a little rundown of my game versus Manny at LGT and used that to make a video talking about the Eldari mirror. So make sure you check that one out as well.
Deep insights into the really niche topic of that one, right? The Eldari mirror matchup. That one's a really spicy one though, because I remember when I was playing a little bit of Eldari, the mirror matchup was just like so volatile, right? There was so many like rules of engagement. I feel like that, you kind of had if you didn't know, you were like, oh god, you found out really quick, right?
Yeah. So you can skip all the part where you try and work it out and just go straight in for all the kind of strategy that I've worked out for that one. It will really help you out, especially in this meta where Eldar are a little bit popular. Final shout out before I pass it over to you, Dave, is that our gaming aids have been doing really well with Fat Dwarf. So there'll be a link for that in the description. We've handpicked some gaming aids, which have got some Fireside kind of bespoke logos on them. They're pretty cool. Using them.
I was using them a lot at LGT actually. Like I found the wound marker ones are really nice to use, and I found the objective secured ones I could use as like my oath the moment if I was using oath the moment, or I could use it as like a debuff thing, which I found really cool. They're in like a little like container, and if you're like me, you would just lose everything. So I try and like it fits in my just plastic bag of dice, and then I just put it in there and just pop it open before the AM and stuff like that. And
absolutely
stops me from losing it. Yeah.
Dave, on the masterclass, 40kfireside.com is doing really, really well. Dave, what's the plan with any new masterclasses that are coming up?
Yeah, so we've got, thanks for that. We've got Ennis Wilson coming to do Grey Knights tomorrow. We're going to be focusing on Warpbane Task Force, and I've started doing some of the masterclasses like at a lower price point, but for like specific detachments, because some codexes have like one build, or they've only got one really viable thing. So we've got Warpbane Task Force, and I think we're doing Banishers there as well. Then we've got Nassim Fouchain coming on the weekend as well to do Combined Arms. I thought it'd be really cool to get another guard player because I've stepped away from playing guard for quite a while here, but Nassim kind of carried the torch there for a long time. And really, I mean, Nassim and I were two of the biggest innovators in that. And I really wanted to get someone else to talk about guard because I really like bringing other people's opinions and stuff. So we're going to be sitting down with Nassim to work through his kind of Bulgren style list and then also a non-Bulgren style list because after the Nursevic, I didn't actually go and play Combined Arms. I went and played like Mechanized and Hammer and stuff like that. But Nassim kind of stuck to his roots, even with the new Codex, played Combined all the way through. And obviously, he did super well at WTC. I mean, Nassim is an insanely good player as well. He's going to be on doing that. And then, unless anything goes wrong, we've got it scheduled in. We've got Skari the Archon to do the Dark Eldar complete codex with us as well. It's going to be dropping on his Patreon. It's going to be dropping on 40K Fireside. So look out for that because I know tons of people are getting back into Dark Eldar. Boris, Vic. It's the book looks really good. It looks like lots of viable things. And then we're going to be working on a project which is called Atlas, which is going to be hopefully the equivalent of having a coach in your back pocket so you could jump on to the Atlas and type in your matchup and your faction. It'll tell you all the gotchas that you're playing against, what the macro strategy is, and I'm going to be working with a range of different players to try and populate that. So get a little bit of a heads up. If you just wish you'd known what you knew after the game before the game, then that's kind of that's what we're going for with that one.
Dude,
It's really exciting. Like every day I feel blessed that I get to work on Warhammer full time, talk with a great bunch of people. I mean, I had so much amazing feedback from LGT around hey, this course really helped me, or I with so many testimonials. I got ChatGPT to go through my email address and connect to did you know you could do this? Vic?
No way.
GPT to integrate to your Gmail, and I said search through all the testimonials, and then I just got like tons of them. It was like flowing. So it was cool. Yeah. So I'm grateful every day that I can make it happen to do that.
Dude, I'm so excited for that Atlas thing. That actually sounds really, really cool. So,
and I've been playing lots of Path of Exile, so that's why it's called Atlas.
Nice, got the Atlas tree going.
Yeah. And we also had the Fireside Throwdown. That's the singles tournament we ran. We had War Masters Matt win that with Admech versus Push Only playing Eldari. That was a UK-based player versus American-based player, and we played the finals on stream, so you can go check that out. I think that's a really good learning game, actually. If you're playing Eldari, and if you're playing maybe Admech or in there, I kind of turn off a bit and do some commentary about the macro strategy, and really interesting game actually. And then we also have if you guys don't know, this is like these all run in our Discord, our members section, and we have we have 3 teams of 8 playing in the Try Hard 8v8 teams tournament as well. So I organized that for the club, and we've got 3 teams smashing out for that. We played against Vic. I decided to seed the teams this time.
Okay.
So we've got Fireside Cassican was the top team,
of course.
And who do we draw round 1? Zugzwang, of course.
Oh, wow.
Who, if you don't know, like the best team in Germany, and we got absolutely destroyed. We didn't get absolutely destroyed, but we had a great time playing them, and we obviously had Tim come on to the Masterclass recently, and so we had a great time. Basically, that team is, if you don't know, a bunch of Team Germany WTC veterans. So really good fun. But so everything on the Fireside's been popping off. It's been really good.
Dude, actually, you know what? I would really recommend the Fireside Discord, as I always do in these videos, because actually you give out some prizes and things for some of these, for that singles one. Pretty cool prizes, dude.
Yeah, we have, I painted a Autark, and I've got some Admech characters I've given away, and then we had Mappo from the Discord giving away like a box for like a playing box that contains all your markers and stuff in it. He's a 3D printer. He prints a lot of stuff for people in our community. And then I have like an Astra that I painted up and stuff. So yeah, I really like to just have a little token thing that people can hopefully play. And Push Only, who came second, can obviously use the Autark, and Matt can use the Admech stuff. So it's kind of nice to have it on the table.
Dude, there was a video which I did called The 5 Ways to Improve at Competitive 40K. And that was a really popular one. The 5th point on that was growing a community. community and being a
Yeah.
part of a community. And I would recommend something like this because it gets you to play TTS games against other people within the community and then analyze and discuss it as well. So whichever community you join, obviously our one gives you that. It's a really good thing to do if you want to get more involved and enjoy the game a little bit more.
Yeah. Especially if you feel like you're kind of plateauing or you're struggling to break past a certain point, usually that's a sign of you've kind of grown too big for your area that you're currently in, or you need to expose and go through some hard yards to reach that next level. I know, obviously, like my journey joining Dice Down was a huge, like, definitive part of me getting a lot better, and I never would have been as good if I'd never grown my community and joined a team, basically. So that was big.
Talking about joining teams and
Oh,
growing and reaching the next level, one of the big aspirations for a lot of 40K players is to play for your country in WTC. And, we've both been lucky to do that. But Dave, I think you have some big news to share with us for next year.
yeah. So if you don't know already, it has been sort of announced, but I will be the captain of Team New Zealand for the 2026 WTC. It's a very proud moment. I love wearing the black jersey, and nothing feels better than playing for your home nation. And I've applied every year, and this year, Finn decided to step down, and it's going to be, and so I decided to throw my hat in the ring. And I don't know if this is true, but I might be the only captain that's not based in the country. It may be, and that's going to come with a bunch of challenges with it. It's obviously not going to make things easier, but there's some positives. Obviously, I think I can bring to the team, and yeah, so we're really excited. I mean, it's going to be a new edition, theoretically, right? If the edition drops
Most
in June,
likely.
yeah, I mean, that is super exciting, man. Like, I tell you what, I am so hyped to be playing a new edition, especially with Team New Zealand. I think that gives us a really big edge on a newer edition. And we are going to be sending likely a very new team, a very novice team, people that haven't really played as much. I think we may only have one or two only returning people, but I also think the new edition hype might bring some people that weren't going to play this year back in, perhaps.
Nice.
But I'm very excited. A shout out is, if you are a New Zealand-based expatriate and you live overseas and you're interested in playing the WTC, you can get in touch. You can find me on Discord, or you can get in touch 40kfireside.com. There is an official Team New Zealand email address, but I haven't gotten over to that yet. But do try and reach out. You would be very surprised if you're eligible to play for a team like, say, England, for example, or Portugal or New Zealand, based on your family ancestry. So if you think you might be eligible, definitely get in touch with me. I know there's a couple of New Zealand players here in England as well, and I think that's one of the strengths of New Zealand is we are the furthest traveling country, and we do have Kiwis all over the globe. It's our greatest export, I think. So if you do think you're eligible, feel free to reach out. I'm very open, and I'll be organizing. I've already got hopefully one event organized when I'm in New Zealand for 9 weeks as a WTC grinder in December, when I'm going to be down there for 9 weeks. And yeah, I'm hoping all the applicants can come, people that are interested, the people that have played on the team previously can come down, bring some of that knowledge, get together, and so I can learn and meet and greet the wider community as well there. So I'm hoping it'll go well this year. We will be looking to collaborate with other teams as well, and I think that we can bring a lot, and particularly myself as well, can bring a huge amount collaborating directly with another team here as well. Very exciting though. I think I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that is so cool. I'm really happy for you. And Team New Zealand are a really bunch of cool players. And I'm sure you guys will do brilliant and keep growing next year. I wanted to give a shout out to the Team England guys. I've applied for Team England this year, so
Yes.
took a break last year from WTC. Now applying again. We'll see how it goes. There's a lot of applicants, and the process is super structured this time, which is really cool. I think people are getting lots of feedback from their games, and it's done in a little bit more of a conscious way of growing a community that will come across to WTC, which is awesome to see. And big props. Oh yeah,
I was going to say, I feel like Tony Chu's done a really good job of improving the application process, right? Because it didn't really seem like I had much structure a couple of years back, maybe like 3 years ago. But now, the media, you can go to like Team England Facebook page, I think, where they've got like all the events they're playing. You guys are working with other event organizers to bring the applicants in earlier, right, to get more exposure. I mean, that seems like, I mean, a lot of that takes a lot of groundwork to get done, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge amount of effort going
I
in.
know. We have Nas and Boris both involved with the kind of leadership of Team England alongside Tony. So,
Nice.
we can hear firsthand how much work they're putting into that. So, I'm very excited to see how that goes. Team England came runners up for sportsmanship last year, which is obviously a great achievement. Good to
Yeah.
see. So, I hope, we can combine that with improving our performance as well.
Yep.
So, yeah, fingers crossed. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, props
Sky's the
to
limit.
everyone in Team England.
Yeah, hell
Uh,
yeah. I'm
Sweet.
excited to see the squad that you guys have this year. That's for sure as well.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see how different it might be from previous years. So yeah,
Yeah.
um,
Nice.
Dave, probably our biggest topic for this episode. I don't know. Have you seen? Like we're going to talk about Space Marines, guys. Have you seen the Nick Nanavati from Art of War posted a
I don't know.
video?
Who's that guy? What?
Nick is the coolest brown person playing Warhammer 40K, and he has posted a video about how broken Space Marines are.
Really?
And now that video is super awesome. I really enjoyed listening to it, but the comments are even more entertaining. The comments are
Have you
all
got a few of them?
entirely how can an Eldar player complain about Space Marines being broken? That's just the comments all the way down.
That's
I
hilarious.
love that.
Was Nick talking about Raven Guard or the new detachments? You know?
I think he was actually being very generic about it. It's a very short video,
Oh,
only 8 minutes, and just
okay.
talking about how a lot of the rules now are benefiting Space Marines more favorably compared to other armies.
I
Uh,
completely agree on that, by the way. When you play Space Marines compared to any other faction, you get something new like every single week. It's like it's like Christmas all year round, by the way. And if you're playing something, I don't know, like I guess Eldari, but Guard I played, just zero updates for ages. So yeah, it does feel like you're kind of playing the special poster child of Games Workshop.
Interestingly, it hasn't always felt like that in Warhammer
Mm,
40k balance. Space Marines have kind of been kept as the simpler army, kind of middle of the pack kind of army.
mm.
I really noticed a difference when the game Space Marine 2 came out.
Oh yeah.
At that point, I felt there was a big push for Ultramarines rules, Space Marines having extra rules added in. And from then on, Space Marines have got a lot of extra rules, which have been not weak. Like,
Mm,
in my opinion, they're not broken at all, but they're
mhm.
certainly strong rules that will help
Yes.
them do well competitively. Dave, you've been playing a lot of Space Marines at the moment.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think are Space Marines I don't think they're broken. I don't think that's the way to say it. But I have played a couple of games of Raven Guard. So previous to that, I played a lot of obviously playing Ultramarines, and I played Black Templars. I played a couple of things between that as well. But those are my primary two, for example. I certainly don't. Oh, I played a lot of Space Wolves as well. I certainly don't think Black Templars were broken, so to speak. It definitely had its downsides, right? I don't think that Ultramarines were broken by any means, and I certainly don't think Space Wolves were broken either way as well. But Raven Guard does have this unfair element to it, which is quite powerful, but it is super board dependent, which is actually kind of a frustrating part, right? Because it's not as if you can balance an army around like one terrain set, right? And for example, Raven Guard on WTC is significantly worse. I would say it's almost like 65% of the power level
Wow.
of like GW and UKTC. Because if you're going to go play a singles tournament with Raven Guard, you might just hit a board where the terrain feature is against the board edge, which is probably like 50% of the maps, or there might be one of those. And your army power level just drops off a cliff from that, right? But if you play like UKTC or you play, Games Workshop, like the firing lines from reserve are pretty accessible to say the least. So you can like trade, kill chaff, and then drop, and your Centurion Devastators will usually take over the whole game. I think both the games I've played have been like pretty straightforward. And I haven't even been playing with all the rules. I've been playing with like 65% of the rules.
Classic Dave.
There's like quite a lot going on in there
Yeah,
because like
yeah.
you can uppy downy, then your character can. Did you know that your character gives you rapid ingress and heroic for free, in addition to if you've already rapid ingressed?
Mm.
So yeah, and it uppy downies its own unit for free, and you can uppy downy another unit. It's like okay, so there's a lot going on in that. Do I think they're broken? No, because I think broken is like, kind of at that level where it's like you turn up to the table and your opponent has like no hope, so to speak, or no counterplay. These armies like the Centurion Devastators do fundamentally play from the board edge, right? They are from strat reserve, and your army is kind of limited from not deep striking or arriving from reserves onto objectives. So that's interesting as well. So I do think there is counterplay there, and I think if the whole meta was Raven Guard, we would find armies that would do quite well against it as well.
Correct. I completely agree with you. And I think it is an army that comes with some weaknesses with its macro strategy.
Yeah.
Like it seems like very straightforward, right? You go in, you rapid ingress a unit, apply pressure, fire down the shooting lines, Inceptors go in, killing blow.
Mm.
But in reality, actually, I haven't played against it. But the way I've seen the games that have been played, it's very easy for you to end up in a situation where the Centurion Devastators are the last thing kind of left, which,
Yeah.
you're tabling your opponent, but you're not necessarily winning the game off
Yep.
Centurion Devastators existing to the end of the game.
No.
Inceptors, they land, and maybe, they do a crunch of damage, but they kind of fall apart after they've done that.
Yep.
And
It's
you
kind of
have.
oath dependent as well. Like you think of these turns where you go all in with everything, but I mean Centurions, they don't need oath moments, so to speak, right? But your Inceptors, if you're shooting 3 different targets, will need oath moments. And Inceptors, I'm not gonna lie, are kind of prone to whiffing. Like, you're like, okay, I'm gonna shoot 8 plasma scepters here, and then you like don't have oath moment. You hit like 6 times, and then you wound like 5 times, and then they have AOC, so they make like 3 saves, and you don't end up doing anything. You're like, oh god. And then your Vanguard veterans, like, I mean, just hit on 3s, right? And then they're strength 5, like they kind of need oath. So yeah, it's not. I mean, they did just recently get the oath buff as well, which for me was like, okay, then this is like kind of okay. They're like the best version of Space Marines because we've got Coventry and then the ITT coming up, which I'm going to be playing Raven Guard because I think the terrain format for UKTC just plays that so insanely well. Like you can't hide from Centurion Devastators on those boards, but you are right when you said a lot of ways to tackle that army is to tackle the chaff and.
Correct.
You can't stand on 2 objectives with Centurion Devastators. You can't. The army has no access to advance and shoot, so your Centurions are never moving more than 4 in shooting, and that's the big weakness to it, I think, as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I know a lot of the Eldar guys on the Discord have been a little bit worried about this matchup. But
Yeah.
what we found from some people playing it and things is that it's not impossible at all. The one thing I would say for Eldar players out there who are listening to this is, don't be so scared of the Inceptors.
Mm.
I would say be a little bit worried about giving really good angles to the Centurion Devastators, which I think is easy to avoid. But
Yeah.
the Inceptors, don't be scared. They will trade down a lot of the time when they whiff
Yeah.
outside of
They're
their out
expensive.
target. Exactly.
Yeah.
Let them do
And
what they want. Don't screen out every single inch of the board.
yeah, you know what I would say for that matchup too is I'd probably keep Jane Czar unless you can screen. If you can't screen the Inceptors, I'd try and keep the Jane Czar package and the Banshees like maybe in the Wave Serpent.
Yep,
Because
agreed.
then you can like use them, jump out, and tag something, and then if you can move block the ability for them to get shot the next turn, your fight first is actually really really useful overall there. And like Inceptors are like 240 points for 6, which is like a lot of points. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been liking the Bolter versions of them actually.
Oh.
Because if you think about your macro strategy, if you drop 6 with Oath a moment and you use +1 Ballista skill, if you can, but it's like 12 inches, so maybe you can't use that. But if you just drop them with Oath a moment, a 6-man squad gets a lot of shots, or a 3-man squad can like kill 10 Gretchen or like 10 guardsmen maybe. There's kind of those breakpoints, and then once the army really begins to win when you kill off lots of screens early on, and then your opponent's forced to screen with expensive things. So
Yep.
yeah, I mean, like just having more chaff in your list is fine. I mean, I think with Black Templars, I'd be fine playing against them on some boards because having a lone op that can reactive move or push out screens and then have something to shoot back something else is pretty strong against that army as well.
Nice. I like it. I mean, that's the discussion about Raven Guard, which I think are extremely powerful. One of the better armies in the game for sure. But we've got some new rules, Dave. Have you had a look at the
Yeah.
White Scars detachment? So the upgraded Stormlance. That's how it feels to me.
Yeah. What? Before we go, have you looked at both of them, Vic? The
I haven't
Iron
looked-
Hands one, which is
I
the
haven't looked at the Iron Hands, but I've
Okay.
watched a game played with the White Scars one.
okay. What are your as a non-Space Marine player? What are your thoughts on it?
So I think it looks very strong.
Okay.
The rules look strong. But actually, when I look at the actual macro strategy and the way, let's take the Stormlands upgraded Storm. I don't know what it's actually called, the White Scar detachment.
Yeah, sure.
We're looking at maybe a Storm Raven. We're looking at one Outrider unit with the unique character,
Yep.
and then we're looking at a mixture of loads of other things
Mhm.
after that. And I think that it looks solid, but it
Mhm.
doesn't particularly feel like super good into absolutely. I can feel like it has some losing games,
Yeah.
and
When
it
you
doesn't overcome skill advantage, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. I think both of these attachments are extremely meh, to be completely
Yes, there
honest.
you
Yeah.
go.
There was a. I don't want to call out people, but there was a video where someone said Games Workshop printed the strongest attachments, and I think the overwhelming majority of people that actually played Space Marines thought these are both incredibly average. The White Scars one, for example, let's take the White Scars one. So one of the problems is, and this is different from Raven Guard, is that you're locked into playing White Scars, obviously, right? And so previously in Stormlance, you would play Ultramarines, right? And the big pull for playing Ultramarines is that you can basically play Ultramarines like any detachment, because Ultramarines isn't really a detachment. It's more the fact that you play Calgar and Gilliman, right? Those are like the two centerpieces. Like, if you could play them in Black Templars, you would play them. You know what I mean? Like, they're absolutely an incredible duo. And so you can play them in Gladius, you could play them in Ironstorm if you wanted, you could play them in, obviously, Stormlands, right? And when you play White Scars, you don't get access to either of those, which actually fundamentally changes a lot of how your army gets to play and gets to operate. The new character is pretty good, right? But once again, you're playing him with Outriders, and I mean, here's a good comparison. The Emperor's Shield, is it the Lion Shield attachment for Custodes, has the bike captain that can hit and fade, right? That's what I would have thought the White Scars character would have been. Like a jet bike guy who can like go in, strike, and then fade 14 inches back. But I mean, he's at the end of the day just something that goes in with 3 enormous bases that have him with him, is then susceptible to melter profiles, and then will be able to be shot from anywhere. And like, what's the? Are you really playing him? Like, okay, you can play him. I'm not saying he's not good, but like, you're taking huge downgrades by not playing Gilliman and Calgar, right? Two models that are incredible. Like, Gilliman gives you double oath, free strat. Calgar gives you fallback faster charge, an unkillable beat stick that can heroic. So for me, there is no, and I think a lot of the Space Marine chat in our Discord was like, why would you play this over Ultramarine Stormlance? There is almost zero pull to it. Some of the stratagems are a little bit better, but the vast majority of it is pretty bad, I would say. Like, as in, it's not that it's bad, it's that there's no reason to play that over Stormlands. And
Wow, interesting.
we actually saw, for example, I mean, that's pretty similar with the Black Templars detachments, right? There was no reason to play that over Stormlands or Gladius. The Raven Guard one was an exception, the main reason being that the stratagems actually directly buffed units, right? Whereas more playable units, right? For example, you could uppy downy Centurion Devastators. You could get, it's got the good combo fallback and shoot, for example, right? So you've got 2 strats basically which directly buff Centurion Devastators, right? Which is like, it is a legitimately good unit. And then your detachment rule also buffs Centurion Devastators enormously as well. So, and then you've got a 3rd strat that buffs them with a +1 bliss skill and thing. Yep. So, you've got a lot there. And then you've got the Iron Hands one as well. Well, okay. I don't know why they didn't make this it's like the Iron Hands detachment, but they didn't make it Ironstorm. Like,
is it like Terminator-y?
It's like Terminator-y. It's like the First Company one. Like,
dude, that's cool. I mean, that's cooler than vehicles, to be honest.
Yeah, but like Iron Hands is like all about vehicles, right?
No, that's not necessarily true.
Is that not necessarily?
Okay, no, it's not necessarily true. Yeah.
The main character is a tech priest.
True.
That's my counter argument. And it seems really good, right? You read the detachment rule, you think, oh, you get a 2nd oath, right? But as someone recently pointed out, it's you can only swap the oath target when your tech priest character can see the 2nd target.
Okay.
So I mean, that's obviously nowhere near as good as just like, you have to put your tech priest character that probably moves 6 and then can see something out there and stuff like that. So yeah, that one's pretty mediocre as well. So I definitely don't think either of these attachments I wouldn't rate them better than Beast Slayer. I probably wouldn't rate them better than Space Wolves, for example, and I would put, Raven Guard, Black Templars, Ultramarine Stormlands, Ultramarines Gladius as the top 4 detachments personally,
Wow.
and
Okay.
then maybe even Black Templar Stormlance after that. So I wouldn't say any of these crack the top 5. Or Blood Angels is in there, depending on your terrain format as well, for sure.
Wow.
So
Okay. I mean, that is a fantastic take. And I don't think that's a take you're going to see very much on the internet. There's a lot of over exaggeration about it.
yeah,
So I love that, Dave. I've
yeah.
definitely learned a lot in that little bit there. So, really, would you say that Raven Guard is potentially the meta shifting thing here out of
Yeah,
everything?
I will think, because I don't think we'll have a balance update before Warhammer World Champs,
No,
right?
we won't.
So I think John Lennon will probably win Warhammer World Champs with Raven Guard, for
Whoa,
example.
straight in
Yeah,
there with that
yeah.
prediction.
I don't really see an army like that. Army is quite complicated to play against as well, and I think John will obviously be one of the best, if not the best pilot in the room, but the most practiced one on that build, I think. So I think John will probably have a stellar tournament. The build is basically solved. I've played 2 games with it. I got a list from someone else who, they're all 1900 points of the list that John originally posted, I think. And, I struggled to see any improvements in the list and where to optimize. And that's usually something I'm quite good at. So, it's pretty much a solved build. Whether someone will find the tech to play against it, who knows? But it has got very good play into a huge range of things in the meta. And maybe the mirror matchup's going to be popular for that build, and I don't know how that one even plays out. But yeah, maybe some tech for the mirror matchup, maybe. But even then, the build, like you could play an infiltrator without with untargetable outside of 12 lone op. If you're familiar with that one, it was popular a while back. But I think that just weakens your build against everything else. So you probably don't play that, or it just dies to Vanguard veterans. So yeah, it's spicy. On that detachment, Vic, you can rapid ingress a unit that is 10 Vanguard vets that has lone op.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's like,
yeah, it's
damn, okay.
crazy.
And with +1 to wound now, you get the Inferno pistols, which can kill a tank and then charge content. So very lethal to play against the build.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah, fantastic. Good for the Raven Guard and
a
Space
lot of
Marine
space
players
marines.
out there. Enjoy
Yeah.
your meta. But actually, Dave, talking about meta, this brings us
Oh yeah.
really nicely onto our next topic, which is, I mean, you've obviously made the prediction now. The John Lennon is going to win Warhammer Worlds with Raven Guard.
Yeah.
But is the bigger factor in that John or the Raven Guard? Because I wanted to chat about the influence
Oh yeah.
of how powerful an army is that you're playing versus the skill of the player for winning tournaments at the moment.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on where that seesaw lands, Vic? Do you think it's the player, or do you think it's the list, or do you think you need a minimum threshold of something?
I mean, we've progressively, as this edition has moved on, I think moved more and more towards player skill being the biggest factor for being consistently winning tournaments.
Mhm.
And this particular meta that we're in now has exemplified it more than any meta I've seen since I've started playing 40K. We've
Mhm.
just had LVO and LGT as 2 very big tournaments which have just happened. And they've been won by Liam VSL at LGT with Chaos Space Marines.
Mhm.
And then we had Wesley, is it Wesley?
Yeah. Wesley Sanders. Yeah.
Yeah, who won LVO with Recon Guard.
Yeah.
So,
And big shout out to Wesley's been playing Recon Guard for a long ass time.
mhm.
So I'm not a believer. I'm still not a believer. But Wesley, man, you keep defying the odds in defiance. So good on you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I watched some games. Obviously, Liam, he was playing the finals, and then I watched Wesley's game as
Mm.
well. And both of them just played the game so beautifully, and they were lovely, lovely people to watch as well. So I'd recommend trying to find the stream of those. But
Okay.
those armies, you wouldn't put them as, oh my god, those are broken, best army
Mm.
in the game for sure. It definitely was the player, not the army, Dave.
So do you think Liam could win with Deathwatch?
Uh,
Or,
well, yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people say the Death Watch are better than what you're saying, Dave.
Deathwatch is so bad. Look, I don't want to talk down about the person who came second at LVO, but they did have a loss coming into the top 8 as well. I don't really know how their cutoff system worked as well, but they also had a loss coming into the top 8, which to me was I don't really know how you can make the top 8 with a loss, but it would have been because of the way the shut around spread out. Maybe someone comment in the comment section down below, but it is an army that you can definitely do well with. But I think that if look, just me personally, I think if you look at the LGT top 8 and if you look at the LVO top 8, there was a pretty. If I had the team of 8 from LGT and the team of 8 from LVO, I would rather play on the team of 8 from LGT, just me personally, in terms of like list kind of hardness, I would say, and like player skill hardness. I think that well, extremely stacked in LGT. So it's so difficult to say from tournament to tournament who because we had LGT and then LVO. Who would have done well if the LGT players had gone to LVO, or who would have done well if the LVO players went to LGT? Because UK players have gone to LVO and haven't done great either, right? It's like you and I both got knocked out. I think the year before I came like 5th was one of my best placing. So it's hard to replicate the performance overseas as well, and it's hard to contrast the two as well.
Dave, you are making my point here, though. It is literally about the player. Their factions are really not important in this particular discussion here. We're finding consistently that the best player in the room is almost definitely being the person who's making it all the way to the end here, which is not always how Warhammer 40K has been. A lot of times you get people who come in with an army that is obviously broken, and they're beating players who are much more experienced than them, which I don't think is really a situation that exists in this current meta.
I think Liam also said that he could have lost rounds 2, 5, and 6 or something like that. And like I definitely could have lost my round 7. It was looking to be a 1-point victory, and it could have been a maybe 4-point victory. Having said that, though, I will counterpoint. Like, I think that my path to victory against Alex Sacco on Dark Eldar was like a 15% chance. I don't think the player skill was like the huge impact there, especially like going second. So it does kind of lead in. I think the more balanced the terrain format, the absolutely more that is true for sure. And I think like a WTC format, I think it would be even more balanced that the best players would come to the top. I think.
Okay, I'll give that to you. There's still there's always going to be a little bit of rock paper scissors. I mean, let's say Sacco, he was so happy when Manny got beaten and then I dropped out. He was like, yes, there's no Eldari because Eldari are really good into Drukhari. So he had that free path where there really weren't any Eldari making it through to the end for him. So yeah, there is some rock paper scissors here, but I don't know, dude. I really do think that, it's very hard to overcome skill advantage at the moment. Maybe that's the better way of putting it. Like you can have players equal skill level, but one person has an advantage because of their army. Fair enough. But I think if someone's the better player, even it's really hard to overcome the skill advantage in the current meta is probably the point I'm trying to make, which is resulting in really good players winning tournaments regardless of their army at the moment.
Yeah, 100% agree on that one. I mean, it's obviously that's a reflection of how good of a state the game is in, right? And like how many different viable archetypes there are. Like we had Team Australia win the Champs Cup as well, and Eric Lathuris was taking like the 180 Termagants, of course, and doing very well with that, right? I mean, that's completely out of right field. Well, it's not out of left field for Eric, but it just goes to show you how well you can do with that. And like if you are an expert on something like that, just how powerful, potent something like that can be, right? And Warhammer is more and more difficult as well to like understand. Because there are so many more viable armies, is to like know how your army matches up against so many different things, right? Like, and going to a tournament, you might play 7 rounds, 7 different armies, right? I think I played many different armies. I played World Eaters twice, I think, in my LGT run. And apart from that, basically every army was different, right? And so, you do need to prepare against a wide range of things, which means that you probably need like a more generalized skill set rather than, okay, I've played this matchup 15 times. I know exactly how to play this matchup. It's more like you're going to be thrown into different situations more often. So you need to know like this army I'm playing against is this type of army. Therefore, this should be my macro strategy. And that's where you see someone like Liam. If you watch the episode with Liam talk about like his macro strategy, like approach and stuff like that, it's just like, it's like you can't argue with it being incorrect, right? It's just like, the way he approaches it was like, these are the important things. This is like, I'm going first or I'm going second. Therefore, I need to be doing this. I need to be doing that. Particularly in his game versus like Nassim, who was on Raven Guard. And I think that's a huge skill to have, is like a quick identifying quickly. After the deployment, it's still fine, but like obviously before the game, better. But turn 1, quickly identifying like, okay, this is actually what I need to be doing in this game.
Yeah, this is absolutely like, if this happens, I have a chance of winning. If this happens, I will lose. Liam's really, really good at that. It's like
Yeah.
by turn two, he often says, "Is by turn two, I need everything to be fighting,"
Yeah.
and then he does everything to make that happen.
Do you think, Vic, that would mean that people are going to be jumping around factions a bit less now? Do you think? As a separate question, do you think we've seen people jump factions less?
Yeah, I think so, because there's no broken thing to jump to. At least there's been a significant reduction in that. I mean, let's take armies which people say are really good now: Raven Guard, Eldari. I don't think a lot of people. Okay, maybe Raven Guard a little bit,
But not even that
but
much.
even
Like,
not that much. But I
yeah,
think like Eldari are not broken enough for people to jump and switch to the faction. It'll be
no,
more likely I'm going to take my Eldari collection out and play with them now.
yeah.
So I would agree with you. I think people are going to jump around a little bit less.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
think about a couple of LGTs back,
mhm,
or just the previous one, for example. Like a lot of people were playing guard, or the one before that. The most powerful. We had like two. What about the LGT where we had Eldari and CSM, right? Like so much of the room was on Eldari or
mhm,
CSM, right? Like it was like,
mhm.
holy, this is really what you should be playing. Whereas now, I think people kind of stick within their faction, and then they go, okay, this is the emerging army. Like maybe how can I have something to take against that? In my army, but I'm not going to swap to play something different.
100%. Dave, I wanted to touch on a point you made, which I think is really important, which is about how important core game skills are at the
Mm,
moment for being good at Warhammer 40K. More than anything else, you can spend 20 hours list optimizing and
yeah.
doing that last 50 points, but it'll be nowhere near as important as just being a little bit technically better on the table.
Hmm.
Like I'm writing at the moment my notes for the next video I'm going to make,
Hmm.
which is titled three kind of overall strategies to win any game of 40K. And they're all
Hmm.
just core game skills,
Yeah.
because at the moment that's the single most important thing to do a little bit better in Warhammer 40K, which I
Yeah.
think is an awesome place to be.
Yeah. Board space, controlling areas, expansion control, primary denial, and then like trading, like fundamentally those. And you know what? If you watch a lot of good players that come out of the game, they have those core game skills. They come back in the game, and that's
Mm.
where like they pick it up really fast, right?
Mm.
Or if like a Warhammer player goes to play another game, for example, like a top player, they pick that game up really quickly, right? Because they're like, okay, what's the fundamental like vibe of the game? Like, how do you actually try to win this thing, right?
Yep.
Like for me, I think skirmishing is like really big, has been really big in the last 6 to 8 months of the game. So how are you like playing the midboard from your ruins and stuff like that as well. And
Yep.
yeah, I mean obviously the game's in a fantastic spot. I wonder how many releases are we going to have before 11th edition, Vic? We're going to have many.
I don't know. Is there even any codexes left to go? Was Drukhari the last one?
Yeah, maybe
Someone
there
will
was.
comment and say, obviously, guys, it's something like Dark Angels get
Obviously,
another codex,
obviously, Dark Angels.
obviously, Dark Angels.
I mean, Marines will probably get like I don't know a bunch of new stuff probably,
That's
but
it. One of the
I've
lost
found it.
chapters will come in.
Yeah, I found it pretty like more difficult swapping recently in terms of like picking up I feel like I've needed like 12-ish games to where I'm like, okay, I'm like really getting it now, and then like the picking up the Raven Guard has been like, okay, I need to like get back in the swing of things. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I could pick up Guard again. I was close to playing Guard for coming up tournament, but just decided if I'm going to play Raven Guard at the teams, then I'd probably rather play it at the Coventry one as well.
Yeah.
But I felt like I need more games to get up with. Okay, this is like where I'm comfortable to where I was before, because there's many more applicable matchups I need to play with.
Yeah, that's it. Obviously we're a little bit different on that particular thing. For me, it's more like with these core kind of skills, you can kind of just jump into any of the factions that I previously played and know the mechanics of,
Yeah.
and you can play against most of the new stuff because the core skills are used regardless of what you're playing against.
Yeah.
So that's quite a nice place to be. There's a lot of universal rules in Warhammer 40K at the moment. It's like, can you do a reactive move if I move here? And that covers about 20 different types of reactive moves.
Yeah.
And can you do a 6-inch deep strike? That covers the answer to what you have to do in this situation,
Yep.
regardless of if you knew it before the game started.
Yeah, and we see a lot of detachments becoming more streamlined, I guess, in
Mm.
their design, right? There's a lot more copy and paste, which I think makes that process a little bit easier as well, right? Like, oh, can you uppy downy? You know, can you 6 inch? Can you reactive move? Can you
Yep.
fall back and shoot? Can you advance and charge? I mean, so many, like, I feel like detachments are kind of, for 50% of them are like those 5 abilities. And then there's like some things on the outside around that as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really cool, dude. I mean, I
Yeah.
was just thinking in my head there, like, if let's say you want to stop an enemy unit from activating in some way, and you have no idea what this enemy unit is, and the questions you'll ask straight away is like, can you fall back and do anything? If not,
Yeah.
tag it.
Yeah.
Can you reactive move? Okay, I'm going to stay outside your reactive move range.
Can you advance and shoot? No, can't move
Yeah.
away
Oh,
from it.
yeah. Yeah. Can you advance and shoot? Measure how far they can go and see what they could shoot. Could
Yeah.
you just deal with that unit by not letting them shoot anything? And
Yeah.
then, what have you got any defensive stratagems? Can you do AOC? Something like that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. And then with that information, you didn't need to know what that unit was. You don't even need to know the name of it, but you know
Yep.
what your strategy is to deal with it.
Don't worry about the names. Just put them in buckets. Can you fall back and shoot? No? Okay.
Yeah.
Chain Jungle Fires coming for your ass.
Awesome. Dude, we've
Oh,
got
cool.
one more topic that we can just touch on quickly before we hit our hour mark, which is, I mean, you kind of mentioned this to me, Dave. Unwinding after 40K, unwinding in competitive 40K. What are your thoughts? What is your advice?
Oh yeah. So I actually didn't play a game for like 2 weeks after LGT because I played the Invitational and then I played the top. I think I played 10 games in 4 days, and I had to like get up every morning to kind of go there, and then I was obviously staying for another game to watch the stream. So it's kind of like 11 games, so to speak, and late nights getting back and. For me personally, like that takes a lot out of me. Like if I go play like a super major, like the Monday after, I am completely shafted. I like it's usually like the Wednesday where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of back to my normal self again, because I personally find it quite physically demanding to go in and play, and I guess as I'm getting older, that's not getting easier as well. So I actually find, and so that's I guess the context of what like how I personally feel after these events, but. One thing I find is that if I just sit and play games, I reach a point where I really am not improving a lot, and that's because I feel like a lot of the times I'm just going through the motions, so to speak. So one way to help both of those things is like just taking a huge amount of time off. Like a lot of times I think players get in the mindset of like, oh, I'm kind of falling behind, Oh, all this stuff's happening. There's Warhammer community articles coming out, Reddit article, whatever. Oh, someone's talked about this thing or whatever like that. And you like need to keep playing games and keep playing games. But a lot of the times, if you just sit back and like focus on maybe just like talking about Warhammer or asking someone or listening to something, not actually playing, that's actually going to allow you the time for your like mental capacities to like refill back up, so to speak, right? Like to actually come back to a game. Like for example, I played a ton of esports games, right? And this is actually more prominent here. And I played a game called Heroes 3 Might of Magic a lot competitively recently. And I would find that I would play games, and then I would actually not improve. And in fact, I would get worse because I would just be like playing on autopilot a lot of the times. And actually, when I came back to play, if I took a break, I would, or like, maybe I was away for the weekend or something, I would come back and play, and I'd be like, I would find myself actually thinking about things again. And that only happened because I had like a break from playing. And I wasn't just in this like, okay, sit down, automatically doing stuff. So if you ever find yourself getting into the automatically doing stuff, that's a good sign that you probably need to take a break from doing something, right? Because you're not really going to be improving. But if you're practicing all the time, but if you aren't practicing all the time and you've just had a big event, just take some time off, because the time off that you take actually means that the time on is much more valuable. And that's the core part that I think people miss. The time that you take off means that the time that you have on is going to be more productive, rather than just because the more time you have on to on, for example, the less productive that's going to be overall, right? It's like a diminishing returns kind of effect. And you need to fill up the bucket of like, mental capacity. That's the way I think about it, at least.
Beautifully said, dude. I mean, I want to reinforce your point a little bit there. I mean, I have noticed in my time playing Warhammer 40K that there are times when I have practiced so much and got myself a little bit anxious, thinking, you know what, I should win like this tournament. Obviously, I should win.
Yeah.
And then there are other times where the focus has been away from that, has been more kind of excitement. I am really excited to play my army.
Yeah.
And I've always found the times when I'm excited to play my army, I'm so much more locked in the game. I'm
Yeah.
doing all of the tricks, using all of the strategies that I've kind of been doing, and I'm playing closer to the 100% mark.
Yep.
There was one game against Nathan Roberts, which I brought up before, an early podcast, where he kind of like I was making some moves and I was doing it very kind of lethargically, just kind of moving things around late in a tournament. And he was like, "Dude, why are you doing that? If you, that's like that move is bad because of this." He stopped me and told me,
Yeah.
and it was such a big wake up call. And I was just like, I'm not even concentrating with
Yeah,
what
you
I'm
just want
doing.
autopilot, right?
I'm
Yeah.
just randomly moving stuff and not actually actively playing the game because
Yeah.
I wasn't really excited about what was going on.
Hmm.
Nathan gave me like a tap on the head, and I went on to win that super major, Dave, from
Nice.
there. So
Love it.
the rest of the games, I played Nas and then Brian, and I gave 100% every
Yeah.
single thing to those games going on from there. And
Yeah.
that's the difference between being burnt out and being excited for what
Yeah.
you're actually doing.
For sure. Taking one game at a time is a huge one as well, you know? Like at
Mhm.
LGT, I was like legitimately excited to play my army. I was like, yeah, I'm playing Black Team. I like put a ton of time in painting. I was like, yeah, I got my guys here. I was like, cool, like my sword brethren, I
Mhm.
was like really vibing with it. And I was just like, look, I'll just take one game at a time. I'll just try and win the game in front because oftentimes when you are a strong player, typically you lose because of overconfidence, I find, right?
Oh, agreed.
That's, I mean, for me, for me as well,
Mhm.
like when I just go to a game, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to smash this guy, right? Like that's actually when I'm like, turn two, I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting destroyed, Uh, and because, you're not putting down the respect, and
Mm.
that means that you're not actually thinking about playing the game right. You're just playing at yours at 80%, which can beat most people.
Mhm.
Whereas opposed to you need to actually play at like 100%. You take the game in front of you. It's actually happened to me when I was playing LGT. I played against Marco from Team Italy.
Mhm.
Really lovely guy. He's playing Empress Children, and I played my turn one. I was like, okay, I kind of need to do this, and his turn one went really well. It's just purge the foe, and I went first. And after my turn one, I just stepped back and I was like, holy shit!
Oh, this doesn't look good.
I need to lock in, man. I was like, I have not played this well. I have not thought about like the way the mission should play, all that stuff. I was like,
Mhm.
I need to lock in after that. And so after that, I was like, okay, I need to focus up. Like for turn one wasn't great, but there's 5 turns of Warhammer to go, and I can still make good plays afterwards. And yeah,
Mhm.
something sometimes just like taking a little bit of step back and be like, oh man, whew,
Yeah.
like that was a bad one, but that doesn't mean it's over as well.
And I honestly think you're going to be able to do that better when you're not stressed and burnt out with 40K, when
Yeah.
you don't have, I don't know if performance anxiety is the right thing, but you're
Yep.
trying to achieve a result rather than deal
Yeah.
with the problem in front of you.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a really cool topic, Dave. I think
Yeah. I
it's a big
think
one.
when at LVO when I
Mm.
played, like this is like the first year I was playing. At
Mm.
LVO when I was playing Crusher Stampede, I had a really cool like list. It was really unique. I like built it myself. I was like, this is awesome. This is back when we were in Dice Down. And I was like the only one playing like Crusher Stampede apart from Malik as well. And there people were like, what is this garbage? I was just loving it. I had like these big monsters. I was like going all in on people. And I was like vibing. And I just took the one, I was like, okay, cool. I just got to play the next game. Play the next game. And then like after the end of 2 days, I was the highest scoring player in the whole tournament. I was like,
There you go.
oh shit, like that. Okay, cool. Like that was good, And yeah, it's when I wonder if there would be many analogies to like other sports.
Mm.
There must be, right? If you're playing like another competitive 1v1 sport or something like that, or StarCraft, or an esport of some kind, right? Like it's yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to find out what works for you. Sometimes playing a lot of games works for some people, right? And you've got to like be realistic about your life as well. Despite like Vic and I, me literally doing this full time, like I probably don't play as much as you would think as well because
Mhm.
I tend to just try and find quality time so that when I do play, like I'm really getting rewarded for it as well. And I try and have that downtime because I actually know that like I between tournaments I actually have a really big downtime, but I know in my head like once I've submitted my list, I'll be like really excited to play, so that's kind of my lead up time where my wife, of course, as well as it's like if I have the downtime, it's a little bit better for my wife and my family as well, right?
Mhm.
Because you can like
Mhm.
you're not playing 100% of the time as well,
Yeah.
and that's important for life as well, to have that downtime.
And Dave, do you have any tournaments coming up that you're excited for?
Go Coventry. Are you playing
Coventry.
Coventry as well?
I am, but I can only do the 2 day. I think you're
Two-dayer.
doing the 3 day.
Doing the 3-dayer. Yeah.
Yeah, as you
The
should.
2-dayer. That's the first major I won. the 2-dayer. That's the 500er. Are you going to be playing Eldar, Vic, or are you going to be playing Sisters? Because I remember last
Oh,
year,
yeah.
I think you won the 2-dayer with Sisters, didn't
I
you?
did. I mean, I played Sisters at 2 of them in a row. So,
Oh,
yeah, I'm really 50-50 on it, Dave. I'm so 50-50 on it. The problem is just a hobby and just
yep,
try. I mean, I've got most of the Sisters army, to be honest.
yep.
I think they're really, really cool at the moment.
Hmm.
But I've also got some really cool twists in my Eldar list as well.
Okay.
So, I think
What about a bit of Drakari? Is that, you feeling
oh,
that?
I see. I'm in a good place right now. There are so many
Yeah,
really cool
you're loving it.
armies that I could play. So I think I'm gonna probably go Eldar
Yep,
for the physical tournament.
yep.
And then we've got some TTS stuff we're doing, some
Oh,
scrims and things.
yes.
I might see if I can kind of sneak in some sisters or something into something as we go along with that,
Yeah, yeah.
or practice them because I do want to piece together some information. Maybe put together a sisters masterclass because I really want to
Yes.
deep dive into sisters because,
Yep.
in my opinion, I think they come out of this as one of the strongest armies in singles meta.
Yep.
Um,
Thomas Douche
mm,
made the Shadow Round and lost in the Shadow Round at
mhm.
LGT, having not played for a whole year. Thomas is like he works with the I forget if it's Air Force or not, but I think it's Army.
Mhm.
The Army Wargamers and expats and veterans and stuff like that for wargaming.
Cool, dude.
I think he's an active duty member though as well. Really cool dude. Just come in with his sisters, just playing the same list he played a year ago, like making the Shadow Round. So I think they're in a great spot as well.
They're in a really good spot, Dave. And like the Hallowed Martyrs kind of style of list is something that I really, really enjoy playing. So,
Mhm.
I think they're really strong at the moment. So,
Mm.
yeah, definitely, I'm gonna play around with Sisters a little bit in the background. It's probably a priority over Drukari at the moment,
Yep.
and just keep the Eldar going as well because everyone loves dealing with a bit of
Everyone loves
Eldari,
Eldar. Oh, dude.
eh?
It's just the worst, man. Oh my
I
god.
know, I know.
Keep me away from this
Dave,
stuff.
let me tell you, I am expecting, we've had a double nerf, we've had triple nerf, we've had quad nerf. We're going to get the quintuple nerf coming for
The
Eldar,
quintuple nerf.
I think, in the next balance update. So I'm going to enjoy
Bro,
them while I
you
can.
guys barely got nerfed last time. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
that's what I mean. It went from triple to quintuple now.
It's gonna
So
stack up.
we're
They're
so
like they're giving
done.
you some false hope with it, and then boom.
But it doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter what any statistics say going forward from here. The Eldar are just dead in the next
Yeah.
update, I think. So, yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Vic?
Mm.
Because I just thought about this. Because I thought, a lot of, actually now more than ever, I've just started thinking about the fact that we're kind of in the end of the edition.
Mm.
So my question is, Vic, how can we get to the end of the edition faster? The balanced state of being in the end of the edition faster. Because the end of 9th edition was brilliant as well.
Mm.
The end of 10th edition is looking to be very, very good here as well.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get to this point earlier on, do you think?
How did we? Do you
No,
not
how
feel
do we?
we're here?
Well, no, so I do feel we're here, but for
Mm.
11th edition, how do we get to this point where we're at right now? Kind of earlier on, do you think?
I think the balancing philosophy has been a lot better.
Okay.
The main thing which kind of takes us off the rails is when new rules come out that are broken.
Yeah.
That has tapered off a fair bit moving towards the end of this edition. And
Mhm.
I'd expect the change in balance approach, or I hope that the change in balance approach about halfway through 10th continues through
Yeah.
into 11th. So I expect that we'll probably see a better state of balance in 11th.
Mhm.
I hope anyway. It would have to forcibly be a change back towards releasing unbalanced rules from the
Yes.
design team. And
Mhm.
I think that's unlikely.
Cool. Nice. Awesome. There we go. So let's see that in 11th edition. I can't believe we're talking about 11th edition already, man. Man, that makes me feel like we've been playing this game for a long time.
I know.
But
It's all we think about.
there we go. A bit of a throwback to the old pod format. I mean, Vic and I were doing this, but we obviously didn't have the video when we very first started. So I hope you guys enjoy. Yeah, if you've listened to this far, we actually had some stats come out, and like 50% of people last month were new listeners. So that's awesome, man. So if you're a new listener, come give a shout out. We've got like a bunch of just core gameplay stuff that you can check out, which is super relevant to like the rest of our stuff, right? Like Vic has the Aldari Tactica, the untap upkeep draw video is kind of cool. We've got the core gameplay stuff coming out from Vic in a moment. I've done the 5 Mistakes Ultramarines video as well, which is really cool. Like a lot of that stuff, whilst it might have come out a while ago, is still super relevant. So
Yeah.
get your vibes in there.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to like, comment. We do reply to comments, subscribe,
Yep.
join our membership for extra videos and the Discord level membership to get access to all of the open coaching tournaments, a Discord
Yep.
discussion. It's a big community now, pretty cool community as well. And make sure to check out our gaming aids and check out the masterclasses at 40kfireside.com. It has been a joy talking to everyone, and see you guys next month on the 40k Fireside meta discussion and all through the month for all our other content.
There we
See
go.
ya.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the 40k Fireside. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, drop us a comment, check out the YouTube members area, and we look forward to seeing you again next time by the Fireside.